to become as Zen as possible. Zen is a word that you've probably heard quite a few times in our culture. We haven't invented it. It's over 8,000 years old, if I remember correctly. Some people say 6, some people say 8, whatever. It's many thousands of years old. And the concept in itself is very simple. Zen talks about being present in the moment. If you look at any form of frustration, anger, sadness, annoyance, or things of that nature, in 100% of cases, those are not in the present moment. We are either angry at something that happened in the past, or we are scared by something that might happen in the future, or any other example. However, when you live in the exact present moment, this present moment typically, again, does not have anything attached to it. Right this second has perfect Zen. The only way to live life is through the second, and the only way to experience creation to its fullest is through the second. If you are a religious person, you can say that God only works in the present moment. God does not work in the past nor in the future. In this right second, right? In this right second is where trees are growing. In this right second is where on another side of the planet trees are being cut down to make, furniture or things of that nature. And in this right second is where you're thinking, is where you're feeling everything, is where your every cell in your body is doing the work that it needs to do. And likewise, every cell in your organization, in your company, is doing everything that it needs to do to survive and then thrive if things are going well. So becoming Zen is something that we invite everyone to look into. Becoming Zen, again, means to live in the present moment. It doesn't mean to think fearfully about the future or to think with guilt about the past, saying, oh, we could have done better there. Okay, we haven't done better there. What went wrong? This is what you do in the present moment. Yes, what went wrong? Why did that happen? What can we do to prevent it in the future, and so on and so forth. We've touched on all of these in past chapters, so I'm not going to go into it. What our invitation with becoming Zen is that now that things are set up the way they should be, now it is possible for you, or much easier for you, to get into a place of Zen where you can think clearly and make the best decisions in every instance. It's very difficult, and I'm sure you've been there if you're an ambitious entrepreneur until now, or an ambitious manager. It's very difficult to be Zen when everything is burning, where you don't know what you need to do, where you don't have all of the answers, right? And so on and so forth. It's so difficult to remove yourself from the day-to-day when you have so many questions that you're literally stuck wondering, am I even doing what I should be doing in my role? This is something called imposter syndrome. Almost everyone that is ambitious enough feels it at one point or another, because they doubt, like, am I even doing what I should be doing? This book and these sessions give you all of the answers that you need, and everything. Wherever we say, okay, do your research online, you have your answer there. You can say, okay, they haven't taught me how to hire in my country. We don't need to teach you how to hire in your country. We just need to tell you that these are the principles of hiring, and if you ever are wondering what you should be doing, the principles will give you the answers. So the principles is what we have been focusing on. And so once you implement all of these principles, you'll see that it's much easier to attain a level of Zen, because you say, okay, we're doing everything the way we should be doing. Let me relax. Let me take a deep breath, and let's see what else we can do. Moving on from there, let's talk a little bit about time management. So with regards to time management, I'm an engineer, as you might know, and within engineering, we have something called a constant. So if you define a constant at the beginning of a class or at the beginning of a program, the reason why you define it as a constant is because you don't want that change. You say, this is the constant, this is what it is. Time equally is a constant. And so you can't manage time. And this is a misconception by most people. The only things you can actually manage are attention, what you give attention to, and energy. So when we talk about time management, the only two things that matter are attention management and energy management. Attention management can be defined in one word as the word focus. Are you focused on what matters most for your business, for your life, for your family, for your goals, and so on and so forth? And in terms of energy management, are you wasting your time doing things that you shouldn't be doing? Are you eating the wrong foods? Are you drinking the wrong liquids? Are you doing things that are basically taking away your life energy, your life force, and dissipating it so that you don't have enough to actually do the things that you need to do? With regards to the first part of focus, we've already talked about vision. We already talked about mission. And if you have multiple teams, you have a vision and a mission for each. If you're a manager within the organization, you have a vision and a mission for your team, a vision and a mission for yourself, and so on. So that's what you should be focused on 100% of your time, right? There shouldn't be any part of your day, your week, your month where you're not doing something to attain that vision. And that might sound overwhelming. However, let me be clear that taking breaks, as we discussed already, is part of that vision. Because again, you need energy. You need to manage your energy. You can't work constantly 24/7. You work for as long as you can work, then you take a break. But taking a break doesn't mean, watching a violent movie that will only get you stressed and anxious and, agitated. It can mean going for a walk in the park with your loved one. It can mean, going to play a sport. It can mean reading a good book. It can mean just sleeping, right? However, that's a form of managing your time that puts the attention where it needs to be put, as in recuperation, and helps you gain more energy. Again, attention and energy. These are the only two things that matter. If you nail these two down, anything in life that you want within reason can be yours for the taking. You just need to manage these two items. Moving on from there, what we want to do is make it very clear for you that when people say lifetime, like let's say you have a vision for the next 3 years, and remember, do not have the main vision that you have shouldn't be the 20-year-old one. And I'm guilty of this because I started with 20 to 25-year visions, and I still have them. However, they're 25 years ahead. And so something that I want to mention is when people say lifetime, and I am actually going to say a very quick story. When we moved not long ago from the UK to Central Europe, we moved and everyone was asking, okay, is this like your final move? Is this like your permanent place or your permanent house or things of that nature? And that question to me is very odd because that's so constraintive as a way of thinking. Why would you constrain yourself to say, okay, I have a 35-year-old brain right now, right? I'm 35 years of experience, 35 years of wisdom that I've gathered. And so I will today decide how I am going to live the rest of my 65 years if I'm going to live to be 100, right? Statistically speaking, I'm going to live to be over 100. So hopefully nothing bad happens, knock on wood. So basically, even saying that, if you literally write it down and you read it, it sounds dumb, right? It doesn't sound like, oh yeah, that's a very wise thing to do. Let's take my 25-year-old brain or my 35-year-old brain or my 45-year-old brain, and then with that brain, decide what I'm going to do for the next 5, 6, 7 decades of my life. No, that's not okay. You can say, this is the direction, this is what I want, this is where I'm going. However, you'll have phases in your life. So what we recommend, Aaron and I, we recommend that you break up your life. You say, hey, these are my passions, this is what I want to do. Right now I'm doing this. Remember focus, remember attention. I'm doing this. Look at, for example, people like Michael Jordan. They said, I just want to do basketball. This is what I want to do. This is, my entire life. So that's what I'm going to focus on. That's what I'm going to use my energy on. And he did that for a very long period of time. However, that did not last forever. It lasted until it lasted, and now he's doing something else with his time. He's refocusing on other projects, other businesses, and so on and so forth. So nothing is forever in the sense that it has to be a box that you put yourself in. Just decide, literally say, look, for the next 3 years, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on this, give it my best, see where I am. 3 years from now, I can decide again. Do I want to keep pursuing this for another 3 to 5 years, or do I want to do something else? Allow yourself that flexibility, and you'll see the level of stress in your life will just dissipate to a level that's almost unbelievable. Because up until now, if you've boxed yourself in to say, what's my life's mission? What's my life's goal? What's the purpose of life? If you've asked yourself questions like this, that all of us are guilty of asking ourselves at one point or another during our lives, you would have maybe felt stressed many times saying that I don't know what that is, or doing something that says this doesn't feel like my life's purpose. It doesn't need to be your life's purpose. Just do something that you think that you will enjoy for the next 3 to 5 years, and do it, give it your all. Even in the Bible it says, I can't remember the exact verse, but it says that you should do everything with all of your might, as if you would be doing it for God himself and not for any human master, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. It's a very, very good little paragraph in the Bible. So it basically tells you to give it your all in everything you do. And if you don't give it your all, that's when guilt sets in, right? You say, oh, well, I didn't do this, I could have done better, or whatever. We're not talking here about beating yourself up. And we've talked about this before in previous chapters. What we're talking about here is the knowledge that I wasn't distracted, right? Like I didn't do this business and this project and, this hobby and whatever and so on and so forth, and I just was distracting myself all the time. No, I wanted to do this. The vast majority of my attention and energy went to this, and everything else was time spent with family or time spent in recreation and so on and so forth. Okay, so now moving on from there, we've talked a lot about delegation during the book, and so within level 10 is where you truly see, has everything been delegated? Do I need to do anything? And the keyword here is need. Do I need to do anything in my team or in my business? If I need to do something, the team or business is not self-sustainable, right? Because they should be able to do everything by themselves. Whether you have 5 people or 2 people or 500 or 2,000 people, right? Those people, that organization that you have under you, should be able to do everything by themselves. If not, and if the leader just leaves or has an accident or goes on vacation, whatever, and if things start breaking, you haven't set up the 5 levels correctly. So now, test your delegation. The way you test it is everything working without me? Just take your hands off things, right? Just literally let people be the empowered individuals that they can be and help them. Don't be there to criticize. Don't be, the big brother or sister that just points fingers and says, haha, you're not doing it correctly. No, be there to support. You're the supporter of your team. You're the biggest cheerleader of everyone in the company, right? That's who you should be. So delegate, take your hands off. This is level 10, right? You're at level 10, you're 10 steps ahead. You shouldn't be involved in the day-to-day as a necessity. Again, you can be involved, but to accelerate progress, to help make things even better, to help clients get even better results, or to help the product be even more qualitative, whatever, but not necessary, right? So that's the main point here. Moving on from there, we're going to now talk about networking. So at level 10, one of your principal responsibilities is the responsibility of networking. The reason for that is because we can't possibly have all of the answers by ourselves. The only way we can tap into all answers, or the only 2 ways, is either through prayer or meditation, depends on what you believe in, and getting your answers from your subconscious, because your subconscious knows what it needs to do. Intrinsically, we have let's say a compass, a guiding compass that tells us that's the direction, right? That's what you should do. But you need to be in a state of Zen for that. You can't be angry or frustrated and so on, because the decisions you take in that state of being is not helpful. If you get yourself in a state of Zen and you pray and you meditate and you're sincere, say, what should I do in this situation? And then you write down everything that comes to mind. You can get answers that way. And the second best way is from other people who have been there, done that, they're peers of yours, managers at the same level, or people maybe a few steps ahead of you, and so on and so forth. So start networking. The way you do that is by doing two main things, and these are two things that I really want you to do right now if you can, right? Or write them down at least, and after you finish watching the video, you're almost at the end, by the way. So you're very close. So what you do is two things. Number one, sign up to participate to an event in the next 90 days, right? Whatever event, whatever you want to go to, sign up. Whether it's free or paid, I don't care. Sign up and go to an event. Go out of your bubble, meet new people, have conversations, be there, be fully present, want what's best, like give your all. Don't go there with the idea of what can I take from this event, or who can I sell to at that event, and so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with having lead generation and sales KPIs going to an event. What is wrong is you being selfish about when you're there. When you go to any event, when you have any conversation with anyone, remember to focus on giving value first. How can I give value to this person? Because the moment someone comes to you and has conversations with you, they'll have questions that they don't have answers for. They will maybe need to connect with people that they don't have, and so on. So be ready to give, be ready to be the most valuable conversation or the most valuable meeting that that other person has had at the event. Okay, so that's number one. Book one event for yourself. And number two is to give yourself, so this is just for you, this is not for your team, give yourself the KPI to add at least one new person to your network every week, right? That's one a week, that's 50 a year, 52 to be exact, right? So 52 people, it's not a lot, right? Some weeks maybe you're on vacation and you're not doing anything, right? So you might have 0, but the week before, the week after, maybe you add 2 new people to your network, right? And these are actual people you actually have conversations with. I'm not saying sending a connection request. You can send 100 connection requests if you want to. The idea is to have a true conversation with one new person that you've never met before or never had a conversation. They can be someone that's been in your LinkedIn network for 3 years, but you never actually sat down, had a conversation virtually or in person. So that is my recommendation to you. Moving on from there, the next point I want to make is around collaboration. So when you go to events, when you speak with people, the most important part of everything that can happen at those events, or whether it's an event or an in-person meeting, is to find ways in which you can collaborate. And I intentionally say collaborate. I don't mind whether you buy something from them, they buy something from you, you guys introduce people, you guys joint venture, you guys do whatever. But basically, find ways in which you can collaborate. Whether that's on getting feedback on the book, let's say, right? Hey, I really would love your feedback. I'd appreciate it. Let me know. I would value your opinion. Whether that's let's say a form of collaboration I had with someone at one point. As an example, we had a conversation and they said that I really can't tell if this person will be a good culture fit for us. There was a very important hire for them, and so they said, I don't know if this is a good fit. And I knew that person for a few years now, and I said, look, what we can do is I can have an interview with them. I know you, and I have a sense of what a good fit would be for you, and I can let you know if yes or no. And they love the idea. So because we're peers, we're both owners of companies, same types of companies, just different places on the planet, and we actually work together on projects a lot because they sometimes have staff that we need immediately, we have staff that they need immediately, and so on. So very, very good relationship for, I think, 6 years now. So this was around 3 years in or something like that into our relationship, and I proposed this and they loved it. So that was a little form of collaboration. They got value out of it. I added value to them. It was just a very nice way in which we could, let's say, strengthen our relationship. So collaborate. And this book actually is a collaboration in itself. I'm collaborating with Aaron Scott Young to bring you the best business advice that we are capable of giving after generating over $1 billion cumulatively across all of our clients in the last few decades, right? So this is a lot of information that's going into this book and into these lessons. If you guys have any questions, of course, you can ask us, you can email us. We would gladly give you any form of help that we are able to give you. Moving on from there, I just briefly want to touch on the point of accountability. We talked about delegation earlier, and the difference between delegation is that delegation is someone doing things, and accountability is you making sure that everyone knows, and especially specifically the people that have been delegated to, know how they're accountable, how often, and to whom, right? So like perfect accountability. We've already talked about this. I'm bringing it up again because this is where you test, right? This is where you see, is this working or not? Accountability means that at any point in time, you can check a spreadsheet or a dashboard or a file or something somewhere, and you can see who's done what, when, how much time did it take, and so on and so forth. There's full transparency, full accountability. If you ask someone, who was responsible for this, everyone knows who was the one person responsible and accountable, and so on and so forth. So accountability is another thing that you should write on your list to basically check, say, hey, is everyone in my team accountable for the right things, right? Delegation, again, is one thing. Accountability is a sense of responsibility that people have, and you can see if people have that sense of responsibility. If they do not, you can look in, you can make expectations clear again. So this is where you do that.